Thank you very much. Good evening, Kelly. Good evening, everyone from the Riverside, where it's a lovely warm evening. No, it's not. It's freezing cold in December as we are getting ready for Middlesbrough against Hull. And Middlesbrough, who have lost 4 of their last 5 Premier League home games. Hull, who have lost each of their last 4 Premier League away games. And this is only the 3rd time that Middlesbrough and Hull have met in the top flight of English football. They were also in the Premier League together in 08-09. That was the season that saw Middlesbrough relegated at the end of the campaign. The manager who brought Middlesbrough down, by the way, was a guy called Gareth Southgate. Not quite sure whatever happened to him. But this is Hull's first match since reaching the League Cup semi-finals for the first time in the club's history last Tuesday. And I did interview Mike Phelan after that game, and obviously teams sometimes see cup runs as a distraction to league form. He's just hoping that wins of any nature can create that feel-good factor, and he's hoping Hull can now go and win in the league.
You just have to remember it's always about players, O'Connor, isn't it? And there's a reason why Hull are struggling. Couple of occasions that I've seen them actually look very, very ordinary. They're playing like a team who knows that the bottom 3 is very likely.
There are 5 changes for Hull from their League Cup game in midweek, just 2 from the previous Premier League game. And as the teams get ready to come in around the centre circle for the minute silence here at the Riverside, I'll try to get the teams out quickly for you. Middlesbrough goalkeeper Victor Valdez, back 4 Barragan, Chambers, who played against Hull in the FA Cup last season for Arsenal, Gibson and Fabio. In midfield, Clayton will be a holding player, Forshaw and Darun in the middle, Ramirez wide left, Victor Fisher plays wide on the right hand side, former Ajax player, and Alvaro Negredo, who scored twice in his last game, he's up front. For Hull, David Marshall the goalkeeper, back 4 El Mohammadi, Dawson, Davis and Robertson back in the team tonight, Livermore and Mason and Klukas in midfield, with Henriksen sitting in behind the striker Diamande, and Robert Snodgrass on the right hand side, who has scored 6 goals this season. So now the minute silence is a mark of respect for the Brazilian side, Chapecoense, who lost 19 players in a plane crash before their cup final against Atlético Nacional. This evening, by the way, they've been awarded the South American Cup. That was the final they were travelling to. Strong Brazilian connection with Middlesbrough. Of course, Juninho in the past. They've got plenty of Brazilian flags at home. The Middlesbrough fans, 1 or 2 of them have brought them along this evening. And of course, Fabio, the former Manchester United fullback, he is playing tonight. He's a Brazilian. He looked emotional during that minute silence.
That was fantastically respected, wasn't it? Not a murmur from anybody.
Brilliant. And nice touch for the club. And obviously, such a turmoil of a week, but they have been awarded that cup that they were travelling to compete in the final for in South America. Many teams will try and help them out, but it's going to take years, it's going to take generations for that club to recover. And I'm sure many of our listeners will have seen the scenes on social media, the videos of that team celebrating when they got through to that final, not to know, of course, the tragedy that was about to come their way. But it's something I think all football players, professional players, anywhere towards the top level, they all have to fly to games all the time. And they will have had massive sympathy for that tragedy in South America. We are underway on 5 Live Sport for the BBC. Monday Night Football, and it's on the Riverside. It's Middlesbrough against Hull. 2 teams who were in the Championship last season. 2 teams who won't want to return there at the end of this campaign. And as John Motson alluded to, this is a game that come May, when it'll come down to only a point or 2 as to who stays up and who goes down, they might well look back to this one and see, well, that was 3 points we should have won or lost.
Well, the other thing is Hull came up by the playoffs, and I'm pretty sure that the definitive figure for Hull was, even if they went straight back down, Connor, it was worth £163 million.
Wow. Well, those are the riches on offer in this day and age. Both clubs who, of course, spent some of that money in the summer trying to add big names, both probably trying to get their best 11 sorted out as Hull's first attack of the game breaks down on the edge of the Middlesbrough penalty area. Hull in the change strip tonight, predominantly black with the orange trim. They're playing from right to left as we look down. Middlesbrough in their traditional outfits, the red shirts, white shorts and the red socks. And here come Middlesbrough through the middle of midfield, and a misplaced pass by Martin Darun, the Dutch international they paid £10 million for in the summer from Atalanta in Italy. And Hull play it forward, but straight through to Victor Valdez in goal.
Well, straight away, Alvaro Negredo, it's just a lonely figure up front on his own. The ball was played up to him before from their own half, Borough, and he was straight away. There was 3 black-shirted Hull players around him.
The 2 goals that Negredo scored against Leicester last weekend were his first in 12 games. Hadn't scored since the opening weekend of the campaign.
How well did he take his second one?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we know from the time that he was at Manchester City, he's a quality striker. It didn't work out for him ever since going back to Spain. He scored 23 goals when City won the Premier League in 2014. Then he went back to Spain. He got 5 goals in each of his 2 seasons back there. And clearly Middlesbrough hoping to resurrect things. It's not looked like it in the opening months of the season, but maybe after that brace against Leicester they can get the best out of him now. Here is Callum Chambers. To his left-hand side is Ben Gibson. And Gibson turns on the halfway line and rolls it back to Valdez once again. Victor Valdez up against Hull this evening, and a little bit of a quirk in that in terms of a Premier League opponent, because Hull were the only team that he started a game for Manchester United against. His one competitive start for Manchester United was against Hull, and here he is up against them again this evening. Here come the home side. On the right is Barragan, former Liverpool player of course, gets it back from Martin de Roon. Infield to Gaston Ramirez, who has sprayed it crossfield 50 yards onto the chest of Fabio da Silva, and it was very Brazilian to even attempt that, to chest the ball down, but it went straight out of play for a throw.
I think he's got a concave chest.
3rd appearance in the Premier League this season for Fabio, who of course when he left Manchester United went to Cardiff, spent 2.5 years in Wales. His only goal for Cardiff was a spectacular volley against Middlesbrough last season. Here he is playing for them now in the top flight. And Jake Livermore on the halfway line for Hull. Back in field to Sam Klukas, a player who made his name in the game as a left winger, but he has been occupying this almost anchor midfield role and doing well in it for Hull this season. New tactic deployed by Mike Phelan. He's on the ball at the moment, close to the centre circle, Sam Klukas, and he sprays it out towards the right wing, and that's going to be cut out by Fabio. Applause from the Middlesbrough fans as Victor Fischer, the Danish midfielder, comes forward, and he too has put it straight out of play, and a few more wires crossed for Middlesbrough on that left wing.
Well, I've not been counting the passes, but I would say to you now there's been more passes backwards than there has been forwards, and we played coming up to 4 minutes, so good job there's not extra time, Connor.
Both teams, Mark, with one striker up front. Do you feel it's more important not to lose this game than to win it?
Possibly for Hull. Hull might look at that, but surely for Middlesbrough, you would think when they get down and start playing that the one Negredo actually becomes 3. You would hope.
Middlesbrough, who have not had more than 4 shots on target in any Premier League game this season. They've only scored 12 goals in the 3 Premier League games before tonight, as Diomande comes forward, cut out by Fabio, who then calmly rolls it back to Valdez. The only team who have scored fewer goals than Middlesbrough in the Premier League this season are tonight's opponents, Hull. It's 0-0 here on 5 Live for the BBC. Don't forget you can read the live text commentary on the BBC Sport website. There's a little button at the top right of that page. If you click it, you can listen to the commentary from myself and Mark while you see all that content from social media and the various statistics and graphs as Gaston Ramirez comes forward, tried to lay it off towards de Roon. It's been intercepted by Livermore for Hull, and he breaks up to the halfway line, pirouettes around 360 degrees, gives it short to Ryan Mason, the former Tottenham player. Klukas back to the right back, El Mohammadi back in field to Klukas once again, who wasn't involved in that penalty shootout win against Newcastle in midweek. He was suspended, having picked up the 5 yellow cards. Ball played forward by Curtis Davis out of defence, and that was an easy to telegraph pass and intercept, but Middlesbrough don't hold on to it. And here comes Livermore for Hull, played it forward with a lot of pace towards Diomande. He doesn't control it, and it rolls back to Valdez once again. Middlesbrough 0, Hull City 0.
And at the moment the ball is the enemy of both sides.
Callum Chambers on loan from Arsenal to Antonio Barragan, who has started every Premier League game for Middlesbrough this season. Back in his Liverpool days, he only made 1 substitute appearance for the Anfield club. Here comes Gaston Ramirez, though, coming on the right-hand side of midfield. It's a chance in the penalty area, and it's over the top for Alvaro Negredo. Well, that was a very good build-up. That is the one true piece of quality we've had in the game so far. Ramirez started it. There was a nice little layoff to set up Alvaro Negredo, and he just needed just a modicum more of composure not to put it over the top.
Well, he's gone to hit it outside of his left foot on the half volley and scooped it over, but purely and simply in terms of the move, because Ramirez actually committed some defenders, I should say.
But it seemed to be crying out for him to just hit it with his right there, Negredo. Here comes Klukas for Hull down the other end. Good ball from Mason in the penalty area, and an excellent tackle by Barragan puts the ball out for a corner. First corner of the game, it's for the visitors' Hull. It's still 0-0 here on 5 Live.
And it needed to be a good tackle as well.
Really, really good chance for Alvaro Negredo. Ramirez to Martin de Roon, whose delicate touch seemed to be right into the stride of Alvaro Negredo, but it sat up on his right foot, and he, as Mark described, he hit it with his left.
Well, you would think with the confidence of the couple of goals at Leicester as well, that he would have at least hit the target.
Snodgrass takes the corner, Barragan heads it at the front post. Mason picks up the pieces for Hull, but that's not a good pass. Sorry, it was Robertson there, not a good pass back towards Snodgrass, who had taken the corner kick. Snodgrass was 7 yards away from him, and it's a terrible ball really from Robertson straight out of play.
He's just had a bad minute, Robertson, because it was Ramirez who pinched the ball off him to create the opportunity.
Well, I was here in October when Gaston Ramirez scored what ended up being the goal of the month on Match of the Day for that month, when he picked it up inside his own half against Bournemouth, and he just cruised all the way into the penalty area and scored the goal, and he very nearly set one up here.
As well as he did, it was like the part in the Red Sea, wasn't it? Bournemouth's defence.
It wasn't the best defending you've ever seen. I think Jack Wilshere was one of those who was in pursuit and gave it up. Here is Gaston Ramirez, just on the edge of the penalty area. To his right-hand side is Barragan, floats one in too close to the goalkeeper, and David Marshall, who's making his 9th appearance in the Premier League for Hull, he steps off his line and gathers rather comfortably.
And Ramirez, who doesn't normally start on the right corner, does he? Because Traore's been playing there, but you know, all left foot, cuts inside. He's got something about him.
Gaston Ramirez, who of course played for Hull briefly in the past. He was on loan there, scored just one goal during his Hull days, but up against his old team tonight. Victor Fisher, who's come into the team in place of Adama Traore. Traore, who I saw make his first Premier League start for Middlesbrough at the Emirates earlier in the season, and he looked brilliant. You know, he got in around the defence several times. He was a real injection of pace, and he started most of the games since then, but he's not had much end product, Adama Traore.
No, he beats feet, doesn't he? Yeah. He beats like 3 pairs of feet, but he doesn't manage to get his head up and see what's in front of him.
Victor Fisher, who's been chosen to play instead tonight, he's not the most orthodox of wingers. He's not really fast and tricky. He's more sort of strong and direct, and he's playing for the moment on the left wing and wearing the number 11. Middlesbrough playing left to right. We've almost played 10 minutes here. One big chance for Middlesbrough. Negredo blasted it over the top. This is Fabio close to the touchline on the left-hand side, gives it back in field to Adam Clayton. Clayton, who played alongside Hull's Robert Snodgrass at Leeds. Back now to Gibson. And here is Callum Chambers, and Middlesbrough back around the halfway line once again. Pressure being applied by Hull as they go in to press the Middlesbrough defenders and eventually force them all the way back to the goalkeeper.
Do you know what really actually gets my goat is the fact that there's lots of time and space now in which to play. And lots of players, they don't even take the ball out of the feet and look forward. If there's nothing on and you go back, that's fine. But at the very least, you've got to look for something in a more advantageous position. Yeah. It's all too easy, it's all too safe. Yeah, it's almost like the default position for many of these players is just turn and pass it backwards. Don't give the ball away. Here is Adam Forshaw, that's direct up towards Negredo, back to Forshaw again, outside the penalty area on the right hand side, back heels it to Ramirez, good shot, saved by Marshall down to his left hand side. There was a bend on that from Gaston Ramirez, it was heading towards the bottom corner, and David Marshall, Scotland international, made a smart save. Here is Adam Clayton from Middlesbrough. That's 2 chances Middlesbrough have had now, and Ramirez at the heart of both of them. Low ball in from the right hand side from Barragan, a turn by Fisher, who's moving away from the penalty area, backward pass again, and then de Roon. Well, that's terrible, and that's 4 really bad passes in the game so far. He's just put it straight out of play and at least 15 yards behind Fabio. But again, it was Ramirez who just thinks forward, I'm going forward, I am going to create something. Gaston Ramirez, just 1 goal this season. It was the one I mentioned against Bournemouth.
As Robertson plays it forward to Hull, up towards Adane Diomande, who's not able to control it. So counter-attack position now for Middlesbrough. Victor Fisher gets midway inside the Hull half. Tried to roll it back for Forshaw, too much on it. Barragan's done well to keep it alive for Middlesbrough. Then Forshaw to Fabio, much better pass this time. Fabio on the edge of the penalty area, hooks it in. Ramirez was in there, headed away though by Curtis Davis. Bounces on the edge of the penalty area. Dawson, I think, got a touch there. Henriksen as well. And Hull will play their way out of trouble now as Snodgrass turns back to Michael Dawson once again. And Hull have got it more under control. Klukas, low ball to the near touchline. Hull's left, where Andy Robertson turns, and again backward pass back into Klukas once again. Right beside him is Livermore. Backward pass to El Mohammadi. Backward pass again to Dawson. And they're trying to mind the ball very carefully. Dawson with a more agricultural approach, hoofs it forward, and it brings dividends actually, because Gibson's put it out of play and Hull move 50 yards up the field.
Problem for Hull really at the moment is that they can't get a ball into the front man. They can hold up, and they haven't really bought themselves any time to join in with him.
Mike Phelan has come out to the edge of the technical area. Seems a long time ago now, but Mike Phelan, back when he was still caretaker manager, was manager of the month for August, which too often becomes the curse, doesn't it?
Can you be manager of the month if you're not the manager?
You can. If you're in the, you can be the caretaker manager of the month. Lincoln won, Oldham 0 elsewhere tonight. But the man who was the assistant manager for, I think it was it 3 Premier League titles with Alex Ferguson, would have been in many of the same dressing rooms as Fabio, the Brazilian left back for Middlesbrough tonight. And Mike Phelan, so often the right hand man, now for the first time branching out as manager in his old right. This is Livermore in the middle of the midfield for Hull. 2 good chances in the game so far for Middlesbrough. Hull haven't created anything at all. Livermore asking so much of El Mohammadi, but Fabio backtracking, slid in. Now Fabio claims he didn't touch the ball.
No, it wasn't that.
I think he says it came off the Hull man.
Yeah, I think he's claiming it came off the Hull man, and he definitely touched it.
And it will be a corner for Hull. He slides in, and he's immediately peeling it. It should be a goal kick, but
he just got a little toe on it, didn't he?
It's only a little touch, but he did. Here comes the corner. Snodgrass with power. Diving header attempt from Dawson, and then blazed up and over the top from Klukas. And that will, I guess, count as Hull's first attempted goal, but it was miles over the top.
Yeah, and it didn't sit up particularly well for him, but he's not instantly recognisable as someone who looks comfortable in the opposition penalty area. His strengths lay in other areas.
Sam Klukas is looking for his first ever Premier League goal. He did score against Middlesbrough in the Championship 2 seasons ago, a game that Hull won by 3-0.
He could be looking for a while, Conor.
Yeah. It's a goal kick for Victor Valdez away to our left-hand side. Another goal for Lincoln. They now lead Oldham by 2-0 tonight. This is 5 Live from the BBC, the Premier League. 0-0 between Middlesbrough and Hull. Adam Forshaw is in possession. Rolls it forward to Victor Fisher, who's happy to just lay it off to the man beside him, Forshaw. And then they put the ball out of play. Now, why did he do that? One of his teammates, Barragan, but he's not even down injured.
No, the thing was, Conor, just as they decided to put the ball out of play, Barragan just stood up and was ready. How's your timing?
By the way, that Lincoln against Oldham game, Lincoln leading 2-0 in the early stages. If you'd like commentary of that, tune to our sister station 5 Live Sports Extra right now. 0-0 for the moment, with a quarter of an hour played here at the Riverside Stadium.
I think Livermore got booked for something, Conor. I'm not sure what.
Okay, we shall confirm that. Jake Livermore, who started every league game so far this season, from a Tottenham man, of course. And this is Callum Chambers midway inside his own half and passing low to the near touchline, and Barragan back to Chambers once again, and once again Middlesbrough are very happy to just retreat back inside their own penalty area,
which is fine, but it only allows the opposition more and more time just to sit the 5 across midfield, the 4 are all at the back, and it's all very comfortable. And what you're doing is you're just playing in front of them.
Well, I talk Karanka, the Middlesbrough coach, he's very belt and braces in terms of don't take any risks of the back. Central defender, of course, for Real Madrid in his playing days. It's a good run by Fisher towards the edge of the penalty area. It needed a wingman on his shoulder. Tried to flick it to the right-hand side, but it's cut out by Klukas, and Hull will clear it away. Last season, Middlesbrough conceded fewer goals than any club in the top 4 divisions of English football. So they do like to play it very, very safe, but almost to the detriment of the enjoyment of the game on this particular occasion, because they've been uber safe at the back tonight. This is Livermore looking for El Mohammadi. He played a risky pass on that a moment ago that got through. This one doesn't, and now Middlesbrough can counter-attack, and Fisher on the left-hand side. Ramirez is screaming for it. Oh, he'd lots of space. Fisher waited a long time before giving it to Ramirez. Ramirez was then closed down. He's done well to get it out to Fabio. Fabio's cross hits the back of Klukas, bounces out by the corner flag and then stays in play. And Fabio, who's in a really tight position, all he could do was touch it out for a corner. Corner.
And Livermore was booked for a late challenge on Barragan, according to Alistair Yeomans.
So presumably that was the challenge that led to Barragan briefly going down and his teammates putting the ball out of play.
Oh, Poirot.
Elementary, my dear Laro. Here comes the corner, taken short by Middlesbrough. It's a packed penalty area waiting for it.
Offside.
And then the linesman's flag is raised, and that will be a free kick out for Hull. And that was a bit of a waste from Middlesbrough, having got the corner and then routinely giving possession back.
They're just a little bit, apart from Ramirez, they're just a little bit nervy, aren't they, when they get the ball in the final third?
Middlesbrough have not been in the relegation zone all season, but they've not had many wins here. That win against Bournemouth when Gaston Ramirez scored a really good goal, that's been their only home win in the Premier League this season. They've only had one on a draw. They've been beaten many times here, and that might be part of, they're not quite so comfortable as they come forward. 0-0. Robertson is strong in the tackle against Ramirez. Releases Klukas down the left-hand side. Klukas tries an early cross, comes off Callum Chambers, and that goes out for a corner. Corner to Hull on the left-hand side.
Better though, Connor, wasn't it? You know, Robertson gets himself in a good position, gets his head up, plays the ball forward. Great run by Klukas, and they've got something out of it just by being a little bit more offensive.
So Robert Snodgrass will come across to take this corner. Saw him score a brilliant free kick at Burnley earlier in the season.
He's got great quality, Snodgrass. Very, very good.
Really good from set-piece situations. So now that we've built him up, let's see what he can do with this corner kick. He's just patting down on the ground, making sure he's got a clean surface to strike from. It'll be left-footed from the left-hand side, so presumably with a bit of an outward swing on it. Here it comes from Robert Snodgrass. It was towards Dawson, and it was well headed away by Ben Gibson. Hull remain on the attack. Back out to Snodgrass on the left, and he runs it out of play. And that is a goal kick to Middlesbrough, and it's still scoreless here on 5 line.
Good play, but I think that's Fisher, isn't it? Yeah, Fisher actually stops Snodgrass there, coming back from his left kind of wingish position.
Victor Fisher, who Middlesbrough paid £3.8 million for in the summer from Ajax.
Sounds like a chess player.
Victor Fisher moves Bishop. Possession with Callum Chambers, 15 yards inside the Middlesbrough half. To his right-hand side is Antonio Barragan. Back again to Adam Forshaw. Forshaw's a guy who's really taken his chance this season. He was only a bit-part player last year in the Championship. Then earlier on in this season, when Leadbitter and Daroon were both injured early in the season, Forshaw was given a chance, and he's kept his place in the team ever since. He's now made more appearances in the Premier League this season than he did in the Championship in all of last season. It's a good player, the number 34 for Middlesbrough. There's Gibson, 15 yards inside the Hull half. To his right-hand side is Barragan, 10 men behind the ball from Hull. Here is Forshaw again, took that really well with his first touch, gave it to the left-hand side. Daroon wasn't able to collect it, and it breaks down, and Hull should be able to clear. But Snodgrass is caught in possession, and a chance of a shot, and the goalkeeper Marshall dives out to his left-hand side, and all he could do is push it for a corner. Well, 20 minutes played, just singing the praises of Adam Forshaw. He hit that well, he's won a corner for his team.
Well, they pickpocketed Hull in terms on the edge of the box, and it was a decent save, certainly, wasn't it?
Not much pace on the shot from Forshaw. He was trying to place it into that bottom corner, but it was deadly accurate, and Marshall had to get right across. Here comes the corner from Ramirez, headed away by, it was Livermore on the edge of the penalty area. And here is Forshaw once again, crossing position on the right, sends it deep towards the back post. That was definitely Livermore's head away that time. Klukas sends it one side of Clayton, runs around the other, and he's up to the halfway line. Hull trying to resurrect some sort of a counter-attack here, but they get bogged down in midfield, and Middlesbrough have everyone back behind the ball.
Have you seen Ryan Mason touch the ball yet?
Once, yeah. £12.5 million from Tottenham, a club record signing. Ryan Mason, just reading some of the Hull fanzines actually outside the stadium before the ground. There's A little bit of disgruntlement about the effect that he's had in the team so far. Here is Clucas though on the right wing. There's 3 in the penalty area. Clucas' cross can't beat the first man. Goes back to Snodgrass, who I think was trying to shoot there, but Fabio did well to block it down, and Middlesbrough clear it away. Forshaw challenged by Marcus Henriksen, and that will be a free kick to Middlesbrough.
A little bit lucky. Forshaw, his first touch wasn't good. In fact, his second one was nearly a header. It was that bad. He's got away with it.
So we've played 22 minutes, midway through the first half now on 5 Live for the BBC. Best chance of the game remains the Alvaro Negredo effort in the opening minutes, when it just seemed to sit up for a right-footed shot, and he hooked it with the outside of his left and he put it over the top and over the crossbar. Chambers in possession. 8th appearance for Middlesbrough in the Premier League. He only made 2 appearances for Arsenal last season. His career appeared to be stalling, but he's become very much a regular for Aitor Karanka this season. Here comes Ben Gibson over the halfway line, lays it off to Clayton. And Clayton has spotted that Barragan's got loads of room on the right wing. That's a good idea. Barragan returns it into the centre. Negredo gets up, but he wasn't able to hook it towards goal. He did win the header in the penalty area, but then it's easily cleared away by Robertson on the left. Robertson though gives it straight to Barragan. Middlesbrough tried to stay on the attack. There's appeals that Gaston Ramirez is fouled. Play-on, says the officials. The
went down too easily.
Yeah, assistant was very close to that. This is Fabio for Middlesbrough on the left-hand side, and predictably he turns and plays it back into his own half.
Yeah, no, Ramirez just went down far too easily.
So 0-0.
A little bit better Middlesbrough, a little bit more proactive now.
And this is Barragan on the right-hand side. The tempo of the game has increased somewhat.
Not difficult though, Connor.
Clayton, ambitious looking ball towards Fabio, but not hit well enough, and it's cut out by Robert Snodgrass. Gibson gets it back on the halfway line for Middlesbrough, headed back to him again by Martin de Roon. Chambers now, centre circle. Hull trying to get up and press, but they're not really getting close enough at the moment. Gaston Ramirez rushes his ball forward, and that's cut out, and Clucas gets it back once more for Hull. Plays a little 1-2 with Livermore. Middlesbrough pressing much more effectively, and that's causing the Hull defenders to rush their clearances and inevitably not hitting them as accurately as they would want to. That long ball forward by Robertson was intended for Diamande, and it's headed out for a throw into Hull, right in front of the technical area and right in front of Mike Phelan. 0-0.
I'm not even sure if Diamante's actually controlled a ball so far.
They're kind of short on strikers at the moment, Hull. Abel Hernandez is injured. Dieu Merci Mbakani is suspended. I was at Hull on Tuesday when he decided to headbutt Jamal Lascelles, the Newcastle captain. 3 matches out now for him. And of course Will Keane is out injured as well, so they're down to the bare bones, as they say, in terms of striking options. Diamande has scored just once in the Premier League this season.
Yeah, maybe I was a little bit harsh on him then. But he still hasn't controlled the ball.
No, he's not. Looking for his first goal in 12 games for Hull. He scored twice against Exeter in the League Cup in August. He's not found the back of the net since then. This is Callum Chambers, across to his left-hand side to Ben Gibson, who is a nephew of the Middlesbrough chairman Steve Gibson. He's been in the books here since he was 12. Chambers once again looking up for options, taking a safe one of Barragan on the right-hand side. Infield to Negredo. Real evidence there that Negredo is getting frustrated at a lack of service, because he drops as deep as almost to the halfway line to pick up the ball. Then when they go forward, Gaston Ramirez is furthest forward. He's beaten in the air by Curtis Davis, and the clearance is completed by Michael Dawson. And Livermore. His pocket is picked again, this time by de Roon. Clayton now. Good ball for Middlesbrough to Barragan on the right-hand side. Plenty up there. Barragan sends it one side of Robertson. Robertson is fast though. Barragan was never going to beat him, trying to run around the other side. And in the end it goes out rather harmlessly.
Why didn't Barragan just deliver it early? He had loads of space. He had his head up. He had a little look. I just don't know why he didn't.
Yeah, plenty of teammates in the middle as well. He was just trying to be too clever, trying to put it one side of Robertson and run around the other side. And there's no way Andy Robertson was going to allow him to do that. So goal kick to Hull City away to our right-hand side. Who's the happier manager in the opening 26 minutes, Mark Lawrence?
Conte.
Antonio Conte, top of the Premier League. Chelsea 3 points clear of Arsenal in second place with 14 games played.
Michael Phelan will be the happier manager. Is this 0-0?
Over a third of a way through the season already, of course. Middlesbrough haven't been in the relegation zone yet. Hull, who are second bottom tonight, but if they were to win this game, they would move out of the bottom three. Here is Barragan. Now this time it's first time played in. Good delivery as well, and headed away by Dawson. Dawson was under pressure. Picked up by Fisher, turns, wriggles, shoots, and deflected by Dawson over the top and out for a corner. Much better for Middlesbrough. Corner on the right hand side.
Well, Barragan in the same position he was in a minute earlier, and he just delivered the cross, and all of a sudden his team have got a corner.
So corner to Middlesbrough. Gaston Ramirez will take it, and Hull have brought all 11 players back behind the 18-yard line. Ramirez prepares to swing it in. Goalkeeper Marshall is standing with both arms in the air. It's a rehearsed move. It's played in low, and they need to rehearse it more often because it's not worked at all. Another corner for Middlesbrough that they've tried to be a bit clever with. Remember the short one on the far side, and it's not delivered any sort of end result, and Middlesbrough end up retreating all the way back to the goalkeeper Valdez, away to our left hand side. Middlesbrough 0, Hull City 0. Gibson.
Of course, this was a championship game last year, wasn't it?
Yep. Chambers on the halfway line, short for Barragan. Gaston Ramirez up towards Negredo. Negredo's done enough to shepherd Ramirez into the penalty area, and then the referee feels there's no obvious advantage as he's to step out of it again, so he brings it back for a free kick for a foul in Negredo there. Free kick to Middlesbrough, 10-12 yards outside the penalty area.
I think it was for a handball, was it not? I think.
Right. Let's have a look. We get to see the action replay. Negredo stretching for it, and you're right, yes it is. Handball by Curtis Davis. Negredo was able to get it after that, and the referee's brought it back for the free
kick. He does
kick.
well, Davis, and Dawson. Actually, they're a good pairing, probably just as well.
Just 2 places and 6 points between these sides in the championship last season. Middlesbrough came up automatically. Hull, who went through the playoffs. Gaston Ramirez will swing it in, too close to the goalkeeper, punches it away and straight to his teammate Robert Snodgrass, who completes the clearance. But all Hull can do is clear their lines. There's no one up there, and Fabio can pick it up and play it back again to the goalkeeper Valdez. Valdez rolled it short to Adam Clayton, back again to Victor Valdez. Been an interesting career for him as he chips it out to the left hand side.
That was a slice, an absolute slice it was.
So he gets away with that one. But a guy who was, first choice for Barcelona for so many years, and then ended up on the scrap heap at Manchester United. Good to see him playing regularly again here with Middlesbrough. As Gaston Ramirez cuts in from the right touchline. Now that's a good ball out to Fabio on the left wing. 15 yards from the byline. Right-footed cross, not well executed. Straight at Henriksen, who's able to clear it away. There was urgings to shoot for Clayton, but he wasn't interested from that sort of distance. Middlesbrough get it to Barragan on the right hand side. He plays a 1-2 with Ramirez. Barragan crosses it in. Negredo jumped over it. Fisher tried to shoot, and that was smothered, and eventually Klukas is there to scuff it away, and Hull got a bit of a let off there.
Well, just a little bit of invention from Middlesbrough.
Here come Middlesbrough again. Karanka's team beginning to dominate. Chipped forward by Gaston Ramirez, cut out by Jake Livermore, gives it back to Robertson, and Hull clear it long and hopeful once again, and there's a sprint after it by Diamande, but that is a lonely furrow for him this evening, chasing those long balls.
And again, Ramirez, Connor, just gets the ball down, and his first thought is go forward and commit somebody.
Here come Middlesbrough. It's a good surge to the edge of the penalty area by Forshaw. Then Ramirez chips it to the back post. Negredo is there. Must be Forshaw. 1-0 to Middlesbrough. No. Referee blows the whistle, and he's going to bring it back. And Forshaw, unfortunately for him, was offside. He was standing on the goal line as Negredo headed it down to him, and it will not count.
Well, when it first came in, I actually didn't think he was. Yeah, he was offside. Ooh.
It's Negredo heading it down. There's not much in it.
I don't. It might have been handball, Connor, even.
I think it's given for offside.
Do you? Yeah. I'm not sure. Is this his hand?
It's Fisher.
Oh, I think it hits his hand.
Well, it definitely does look like it hits his hand. The assistant who raised it is is on the right here. I don't think he'd have seen the handball because that was in front of the player. I think it's an offside decision, and Fisher denied the opening goal here for Middlesbrough by a couple of millimetres. But you're right, Mark, it would have been controversial if that was allowed because it hits his hand just before he put it into the net.
Yeah, well, so it was a disallowed goal for 2 reasons.
Yeah, exactly.
Just in case.
Justice served in the end, and correctly from the officials, who we don't always give the praise to, so we will do when they get it right.
Negredo with the header back in, wasn't it?
Yep. I mean, it was the one time with a real quality ball to that back post, and Negredo was in the right position. Here come Middlesbrough again, undoubtedly on top now. Fabio crosses from the left, headed away by Davis. Back out towards Fabio, who allows the ball past his body, knowing it'll be a Middlesbrough throw.
Yeah, just a good spell for Middlesbrough, isn't it? But in saying that, they probably need to score from this good spell.
So Lincoln still leading Oldham 2-0 in the FA Cup. And this is commentary of that game, by the way, on 5 Live Sports Extra. Here in the Premier League, Middlesbrough 0, Hull 0. As Dawson makes an interception on the edge of the D of the penalty area.
Again, clever play by Negredo. What a dive that is, Fabio. Get up, you should be embarrassed.
Fabio goes down.
Oh my goodness.
Doesn't get a free kick. Hull have possession on the right hand side. Played in towards Robert Snodgrass, easily picked up by Clayton. Hull need to get themselves together here. They're going to concede soon if they keep playing like this.
Yes, they're hanging on somewhat. Not desperately, but they're hanging on still.
So Victor Fisher, who had the ball in the net, it would have been his first goal for Middlesbrough. Got 11 goals in the league for Ajax last season, but he was offside. Here comes Barragan again for Middlesbrough on the right for the home team. Gives it back to Chambers once again. Chambers, so often the Middlesbrough defenders, as we've illustrated, just turn and play backward passes. This time Gibson gives it forward to Fabio, but Fabio in turn gives it back again to the halfway line. Middlesbrough enjoying the lion's share of possession here. It's not a great ball there actually to Chambers, who's under pressure from Mason. And again, we've not mentioned Mason too often, have we, as Davis here heads it back to the goalkeeper Marshall. Still 0-0.
No, just in terms of Hull, they've had nothing in the last probably 15 minutes at least going forward. They just literally sat back in their own half, just can't get out.
This is Jake Livermore, halfway line for Hull, wearing their change trip tonight.
He's the only one who looks forward, Connor, when the ball... First thing he does, out of his feet, watch, and he looks forward. Always, the only one. Oh, and then he gives it away.
Tried to give it towards Snodgrass. Picked off by Middlesbrough. Chance of a counter-attack here for Gaston Ramirez, who sets off in a run from inside his own half. Klukas gets back goal side of him, seems to be pulling his arm. Referee brings whistle to him out. I think he was going to give a free kick there had Middlesbrough not gained an advantage, but he's happy for play to continue, just has a word with Klukas. That's good refereeing. As Middlesbrough come forward and into the centre circle. Gibson back to Ramirez, back to Chambers once more. Now Barragan on the right hand side. They are extra cautious.
Not only that, have you seen what they do, Connor, as well? They run the ball towards a teammate instead of just passing it and not having 3 touches, just having 1 or at the most 2. They run the ball to the teammate. It just takes time up.
Ball flicked on by Ramirez to Barragan on the right hand side. He's level with the edge of the penalty area, tries to come inside Robertson this time, manages to smuggle it onto Ramirez, back out to Clayton. Now he's got a time, touches it, looks up towards the back post, tried to get it headed back into the centre by Daroon. He wasn't able to rise high enough, and Hull should be able to clear it away here. Daroon wins it back for Middlesbrough once again. Hull's ball retention has been terrible for the last few minutes. They win the ball back, they immediately give it to Middlesbrough. Here is Martin Daroon, short to Ramirez inside the centre circle. 10 minutes to go to half-time here on 5 Live for the BBC. More reaction to the FA Cup third round, by the way. The draw coming up at half-time. Ball is hit in by Fisher. He was off balance, and I think it took a deflection on the way through, so that will be a corner. Corner to Middlesbrough on the right-hand side. Some of those draws, the holders Manchester United against Reading, so we'll return to Old Trafford for Jaap Stam. Sunderland have got Burnley in the third round. It's West Ham against Manchester City. Birmingham against Newcastle. Middlesbrough, who we're watching here, will play Sheffield Wednesday. Liverpool were against Newport. Or
Plymouth.
Newport or Plymouth against Liverpool. Here comes the corner, swung into the penalty area, and Hull should be able to get it away. Everton got Leicester, and Loro's Preston, they're at home, aren't they, to Arsenal? Preston against Arsenal. That'll be a good time. If I was in charge of these things, I'd be putting that one on the telly. That would be very good.
So would I.
You might get the gig.
I want to watch. I don't want to work.
So 0-0 here at the Riverside. We have had a few chances. Middlesbrough have had the ball in the back of the net, but it hasn't counted. Here is Barragan. A little bit of room here on the right wing for Middlesbrough. He's got Ramirez in front of him. Rolls it short to the Uruguayan. And then he chips it into the penalty area. Fisher was at the back post. Good defending. Good defending, El Mohammadi. He had opponents all over him, and he didn't just head it out for a corner. He actually cushioned it back to the goalkeeper.
Very skillful. Very skillful. Especially when you consider under pressure.
Ahmed El Mohammadi.
Mind you, I'm not sure 100%. Just not 100% certain. Give him benefit of the doubt.
Here comes Fisher for Middlesbrough, cutting in off the left wing into a more central position. Proves to be a bit of a cul-de-sac as he runs into trouble. Livermore was right in front of him. Here's Barragan on the right-hand side. Mason moves towards him to close him down. Henriksen tries to close down Darun. Not a good ball from Darun, but Clayton has done well to keep it going for Middlesbrough. He's got Fabio outside him. Here is Fabio onto his favourite right boot. Low cross in, headed away by Dawson. And then Snodgrass allows the ball to pass his body, and in slides Adam Clayton to win it back for Middlesbrough once again. Forshaw towards Negredo, felt the full brunt of Curtis Davis behind him. Snodgrass is down injured. Middlesbrough play on. Good ball into Negredo, and it hit the back of his head. Well, that was an excellent delivery into the penalty area. Negredo had made a really good run. He's about 6 yards out, and I think he swings his head too quickly, and it misses his forehead and hits the back of his head.
Yeah, it came just from the side of his head. You're absolutely right. He was sandwiched between two players, got away from them, and I think he just lost his bearings, in all honesty. Or as a shock of actually getting across, one of the two.
He's not been blessed with too much service tonight, has he, Alvaro Negredo?
No, he has had the best chance of the half so far, though.
By the way, half-time in the FA Cup, Lincoln 2, Oldham 0. And that is a National League side leading a League One side.
So who did they get? Who the winner of that? Do we know?
It's such a long list, I didn't get it. Let me try and find it out for you.
Ipswich, yeah.
Ipswich.
At Ipswich, so I think. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So
a few quid, though.
Absolutely. Trip to Portman Road. So far, by the way, there's been a few comebacks in the FA Cup second round. AFC Wimbledon had a quite dramatic one yesterday against Curzon Ashton. So you never quite know.
I tell you, I think one of the best results of the whole shebang was Barrow winning at Bristol Rovers.
Yeah.
They haven't lost a game since August, Barrow.
Barrow, who will play Rochdale, who are 5th in League One in the FA Cup third round. You can see the full draw on the BBC Sport website.
Rochdale won at Carlisle, didn't he? I think. Yeah, so they're going north again.
Yeah.
Carlisle, Barrow.
Adam Clayton, who we're watching here, former Carlisle player, on the ball at the moment, flicks it into the air, header won by Barragan. And here is Diamande, who's hardly had a touch tonight. Let's see what he can do. Gives it out to the right hand side. Henriksen, low ball infield to Jake Livermore, 20 yards outside the penalty area. Tell you what, if Hull could nick a goal here before half time, it would put the cat amongst the pigeons, because Middlesbrough have undoubtedly dominated here, but it is still 0-0.
They've got to pass the ball first, though, Connor.
Well, yes. And here is a pass, but it's all the way back to the goalkeeper from Cleefus, who was put under pressure. Long clearance from David Marshall. It's going to come back at him, though, as Middlesbrough come forward again, then hooked away by Livermore, given straight to Chambers. It has been scrappy overall. 5 minutes to go until half-time here on 5 Live. Now, Football Social, once the live football is over tonight through to 10:30, Laura will be involved. And John Motson as well, with Kelly Cates through to 10:30 this evening here on 5 Live. We'll give you the details later on as to how you can get involved and have your say. Possession with Middlesbrough, left-hand side, Gibson on the halfway line. Back to Forshaw, and Forshaw gives it into a more central location once again. Callum Chambers. Middlesbrough, who have been...
Sorry, I'm going to make that point again. I have never seen a game with so many backward passes.
Yeah. And such is the technology nowadays, we'll be able to find out how many backward passes there have been in the game, so we'll try and bring that nugget of information later, but it's Yeah, it's been very regimented, very safe from both teams so far. No one's taking many risks. Clayton to his left-hand side is Gibson, 15 yards inside the Hull half. 10 men again behind the ball for Hull. This is Fabio, who likes to come forward on the left-hand side. He's done well here against Snodgrass. Snodgrass returns to being ball side once again. This is Gaston Ramirez into the penalty area. He's done well, lays it off. Now Barragan, who's in the box, scoops it back into the centre once again, and Dawson gets up. And those Hull central defenders, Davis and Dawson, they will win most things in the air. They get it away. Forshaw back to Clayton, to Barragan again on the right hand side. Middlesbrough trying to make the pitch that bit wider. The cross makes its way into the centre, but too many black jerseys back there, and Hull are able to clear the ball away. But Middlesbrough are trying to pick the lock here. Ball played forward by Henriksen, picks out Diomande, he's in here, this is Diomande, what a tackle, brilliant tackle from Gibson. Just as Adama Diomande was about to pull the trigger, he had to be so careful, Gibson. It was in the penalty area. That's an excellent tackle.
It's probably the outstanding moment of the game.
First proper chance Hull have had in the match, and Diomande is denied a chance to pull the trigger. It's a good pass that put him through from Henriksen, who was fouled, I think, as he played the pass, but it so nearly worked out. Ramirez, as we mentioned, if Hull could nick a goal before the break, it would completely dampen the mood here at the Riverside. Ball is played in by Darun, and that's way too high for Negredo. And somewhat charitably, Negredo does put his hands in the air and applaud the idea of the cross from Martin Darun, but it was way too high for him, and it goes out harmlessly for a goal kick.
It's a great tackle by Gibson. However, himself and Chambers were split by one ball, which would be a little bit of a worry.
Both teams have had one win in their last 11 Premier League games.
Do you think he negotiates with his uncle when his contract's up?
Ben Gibson?
Yeah.
I would say he does okay in that negotiation. I'd say he's looked after. Aitor Karanka has, I remember reading an interview about it though, he said, it's actually been difficult for the kid, maybe not now when he's in the team and proving his worth, but coming through the youth teams here, when everyone said, well, the only reason you're here is your uncle, and actually, he had the talent. It's not.
I had it with my stepfather at Preston.
Right, yeah. Well, it's all well and good, and we've seen it many times. You can carry the name on from one generation to another, but the sporting talent and genes don't always follow. And Ben Gibson, I'm sure with his contract negotiations, won't be quite as wealthy as his uncle, but he'll be doing.
Well, I think a lot of clubs are looking at him, aren't they?
Yeah.
He looks very comfortable.
Still just 23 years of age as well, Ben Gibson. But as Mark Lawrenson says, looking comfortable in the Premier League as a central defender. Here he is, heading the ball to himself, making a bit of space and picking out an accurate pass. He's a good player, Ben Gibson. Here comes Forshaw for Middlesbrough, out to the left-hand side. There are four Middlesbrough players up around the penalty area. Fisher's sort of going around in circles. Then he does a little nutmeg on Snodgrass, but he can't pick out a teammate. Gaston Ramirez, who's having a good half, does well to keep it alive. Fabio was fouled. Play on, says the referee. I thought they would have liked a free kick there, on the edge of the penalty area, but because they've still got possession, he allowed plays to continue. Barragan flicks it in towards Negredo, and it's cut out, but Hull simply cannot hold on to possession. Here comes Adam Clayton. A roar from the Middlesbrough crowd. We've got 5 seconds left of normal time in the first half. We're about to see what's been added on. Just the 1 minute for stoppages at the end of the first half here on 5 Live Sport for the BBC.
Who
this
said
is the
thank
Premier
goodness?
Thank goodness, says Mark Lawrence, looking forward to a warm cup of tea. Clayton hooks it out to the left-hand side. Fabio, who always turns onto his right. Good ball. Fisher takes a touch. Didn't have time for that, but he does win a corner in stoppage time at the end of the first half.
Yeah, so shook everybody up. Decent delivery. I mean, there is no doubt that Middlesbrough have been the better team, but that's not really saying a lot.
I think Hull will be quite relieved if they can get to the changing room.
The thing is, Connor, it's hard to see how they're going to change with what they've got on the bench.
No. Here comes the corner, right footed from the far side. Dawson puts it out for another corner. There'll be time to take it as well. Corner for the second time in stoppage time. And this will be the last action once this.
We've said it, haven't we? Dawson and Davis have been very, very good for Hull.
Bad news for Hull is that they have scored the fewest second-half goals in the Premier League this season of any team. Corner comes in, it's poor, cleared away at the front post, and it's time to get a warm cup of tea. It's half-time at the Riverside. One really good chance for Alvaro Negredo that he headed over the top. He had another header that hit the back of his skull. The one chance for Hull was a breakaway chance. Diamande denied by an excellent tackle from Ben Gibson, and it's scoreless at half-time. Mark Lawrenson.
Well, I mean, Valdez hasn't had a shot to save. That's the first thing, so that tells you how limp Hull have been. Defensively, they've not been too bad. Middlesbrough have been a better team. They just, for me, have too many chances 30 yards out. It's everybody wants 4 or 5 touches of the ball rather than looking for that pass. I think Ramirez is probably the game's outstanding player because he's looked and tried to make things happen. But Hull will be delighted they've gone in at 0-0.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, Kelly, Middlesbrough have had a lot of chances here. They have only had 2 wins of the Premier League this season. They probably should be in front. Middlesbrough 0, Hull 0. Thanks very much, Kelly. Just back underway. A game that I think needs a goal to liven things up, but Middlesbrough have been very stubborn and tight in their defence, and they've not quite taken the chances that have been afforded to them down the other end. And for those of you who like quirky statistics, Hull City, playing here on a Monday night up in the northeast, Hull have never won a Premier League game on a Monday night. They've not even had a shot on target in the opening 45 minutes.
Yeah, how many games have they played on a Premier League night? And by the way, tell Kelly she's not missed anything.
Not missed anything. No, it's been a game that's been disappointing in terms of the entertainment value so far, but we hope for better now in the second period here on 5 Live. And you know, as we said, it's down at the bottom of the table. This is an important game because come the end of the season, it could be 1, 2, 3 points that means that everything's staying up and going down. And it's I don't like to use the term anytime, particularly in December, but it's got that relegation 6-pointer sort of feel to it for 2 teams who find themselves within a point of each other right down towards the bottom of the table. Here is Adam Clayton, 10 yards inside the Middlesbrough half. I'll give you a full rundown of the teams in just a moment. Gives it to Ben Gibson. Gibson with confidence now and more forward thinking, comes over the halfway line. That's much better. On to Daroon. Daroon's pass towards Negredo's cut out. Chance for Ramirez to turn and strike, and it deflects up in the air, and Valdez comes together and doesn't get there, and Ramirez follows up and volleys wide. Well, we'll have had more excitement in the opening 90 seconds of the second half than in all of the first half.
And Negredo went down. I don't know if you saw, he reckoned under challenge from the goalkeeper. I think he's looking for a foul, and he's not getting one.
Yeah, you don't get one. He's backing into the goalkeeper, trying to imply that the keeper sort of had him in a headlock, but you never get that. And once the goalkeeper comes off the line, he'll always be the one more protected by the officials.
Well, there was a little bit of a sort of an arm round the neck, but then Negredo was nowhere near the ball, which doesn't make it right, obviously.
You never see that given. You know, goalkeeper comes off his line, jumps for the ball as he comes down. You know, if his arms do go around the neck of an attacker, referee's never lucky to give the free kick against the goalkeeper. 2.5 minutes into the second half. Middlesbrough 0, Hull 0. Gaston Ramirez on the halfway line. Turns, gives it back to Callum Chambers. Now the Middlesbrough team with Valdez in goal, Barragan, Chambers, Gibson and Fabio, the back 4, as Valdez here clears away under a bit of pressure from just inside his penalty area. In midfield, Adam Clayton, Adam Forshaw and Martin Daroon, with Ramirez and Fisher on the wings and Negredo up front. Here is Fabio on the left-hand side. Hull team in just a moment. Victor Fisher, the Danish midfielder, number 11 for Middlesbrough tonight. No cross from him, delivers it short to Adam Clayton. Clayton low to the edge of the penalty area, picks out Negredo, tried to flick it on, easily intercepted by Hull, who clear away, but just as was the pattern in the first half, Hull not holding on to the ball, and then it's put out by Chambers all the way out for a throw-in on the far side. So the Hull team with David Marshall in goal, El Mohammadi's the right back, Dawson and Davis the 2 central defenders, Andy Robertson at left back, then in midfield Jake Livermore, Sam Klukas, Ryan Mason on the left, Robert Snodgrass on the right, Marcus Henriksen, who's at a quiet game, the Norwegian international, behind Adama Diomande. Here come Hull on the right hand side with Robert Snodgrass, their number 10, hooks it out towards Ryan Mason, who slips as the ball comes towards him, gets back up to his feet, poor pass though, going to be won back by Middlesbrough. Barragan to Ramirez, up Back to the halfway line he goes with long strides and sends it in front of Forshaw. And Forshaw's in around the back of Curtis Davis here. 3 are up with him. Cross from the right hand side. Picks out Ramirez in the penalty area and he gets a corner. It's more direct from Middlesbrough in the second half.
Well, it was good play, not even just being more direct. The fact that they got people forward and the ball was played at pace and they've got the reward.
Once the live football is over tonight, we'll be talking the relegation battle on Five Lives Football Social. 0500 909 693 is the number to call if you'd like to be involved. Lines are open now. Text 85058. You'll find us at Five Lives Sport across the various social media. As the corner from Ramirez is swung in, Gibson was forward, but El Mohammadi gets it away. Back out towards Gaston Ramirez, who had taken that corner on the right hand side for Middlesbrough. So they will remain on the attack. It's given into Forshaw. Forshaw retreats back to the halfway line. Gibson has made his way back into a defensive position. Middlesbrough not in the gambling business tonight as Daroon plays it forward. Barragan, it felt nicely for him. Poor first touch though from the Spaniard, and Robertson is able to intercept. Poor clearance from Robertson. Gave it straight to Martin Daroon. He did well to win the ball, the Scotland international, but then he gave it away. Now that's a good turn from Ramirez into the penalty area looking for Fisher. It's cut out by Hull, but he's a box of tricks as Gaston Ramirez tonight. He's shown plenty of innovation. As Henriksen here comes up to the halfway line for Hull. El Mohammadi comes forward and it's intercepted by Fabio. Now chance of a counter-attack if he can keep it in play. Heavy touch from Fabio, and out of his penalty area comes the goalkeeper, and Marshall is able to clear it away. Mark Lawrence.
Yeah, the reason he had a heavy touch, he wanted to keep the ball in play, which I think he just about did, although Mickey Fielding was shouting that it had gone out.
Return of Champions League football this week. Tomorrow we'll bring you Manchester City against Celtic. Commentary here on 5 Live. And then on Wednesday I'll be at Wembley with Tottenham, but we're not going to do a Champions League commentary on Wednesday. Leicester are already guaranteed of winning the group. Tottenham are only playing for the Europa League. So on Wednesday, Mark Chapman will be looking at how teams rebuild and move on from tragedy and disaster following the plane crash in Colombia. We'll have our South American football expert Tim Vickery on the show, just assessing how the Brazilian team move on from this. We'll look at how Manchester United bounced back from Munich in 1958. And there will also be a teammate of the Zambian national players who died in a plane crash in 1993, which killed 18 members of their national team. So should be a good programme. One to put in your diary. Wednesday 9 o'clock with Mark Chapman and 5 Live. Here comes Hull on the attack down the left hand side. Mason gave it to Robertson. Cross was repelled instantly. Falls here on the edge of the D for Snodgrass. He's tackled by Fabio. Counter attack on opportunity for Middlesbrough. It's a much better stretched game now in this second half. Ramirez, well, he took his time and he's eventually fouled by Jake Livermore 10 yards outside the D. It is a free kick to Middlesbrough. Ramirez, who seemed to be taking too long, but he's won the free kick at the end of it. Yeah,
I thought there might have been a booking from Mike Dean, but it doesn't seem so at the moment. Dawson was moaning, saying it wasn't even a foul. It was. Clattered him in the back, didn't he?
Gaston Ramirez has been the standout individual in the game so far. He's been the one with a forward thrust about him.
Foul was by Livermore.
Yep, said that.
And he's already been booked.
Oh, that's a good point. That is a good point.
I didn't spot it. Alistair spotted it.
Yeah. That is a very good point, because it's the kind of obvious, that was a professional foul, wasn't it, to stop Ramirez getting any further.
Yeah.
That could easily have been a second yellow. That's a really good point. So, Gaston Ramirez...
Maybe we should get Alistair to summarise.
Gaston Ramirez places the ball for this free kick. It's 10 yards outside the D, so it's quite a long way out, but it is
the good thing,
very central.
Yeah, well, exactly. That was the point I was going to make. Where does the goalkeeper stand? So he's in the middle of the goals. He's not standing at any one side, really.
Gaston Ramirez comes forward, left-footed, hits the top of the wall. Going to fall for Barragan here. He'll hook it back into the mix. Not a great cross. Gibson, well, I think he was pushing the defender there more than anything else. Middlesbrough fans screaming for a penalty, but I think Gibson was the man who was exerting the pressure there. In any event, Hull clear it away. We've now played 8 minutes in the second half, and no risks taken by Clayton. Puts it all the way back to the goalkeeper.
Just get the ball down and control it and look forward.
This is Callum Chambers for Middlesbrough, close to the halfway line. Passes it back to Ben Gibson. Gibson to the near touchline, and Fabio Snodgrass is full of hard running. Not only sprints in to get close to Fabio, and then on purpose bumps into him afterwards just to let him know he's there. Once again, though, Middlesbrough retreat back to the goalkeeper, Victor Valdez. 0-0 on 5 Live. At the moment, it looks like Lincoln are progressing in the FA Cup tonight. It's our commentary on 5 Live Sports Extra. And they'll be earning themselves a trip to Ipswich in the FA Cup third round. Full details of the third round draw on the BBC Sport website. Here is Victor Fisher for Middlesbrough, left-hand side. His delivery hasn't been great tonight. Fisher gave that one straight to El Mohammadi. Hull are able to clear the ball away. He's had that possession in that wide position. Obviously they've Negredo, who's just trying out for some decent deliveries. Let's see what Fisher can do now. Left-hand side, cuts in back at himself and passes into his own.
Too many touches, Connor. He just has too many touches all the time.
Not been overly impressed with Victor Fisher.
Well, I think he's playing out of position, of which I think probably Mason is as well for Hull. But even so, just passed it out again, Middlesbrough.
So Middlesbrough 0, Hull 0.
I know Traore's not got really much of an end product, but he runs at people and commits them. So if you've got him at one side and Ramirez at the other, it might double their opportunities.
There has never been a 0-0 draw between Middlesbrough and Hull. They've met 29 times in the past, and so far me and Mark Lauritsen have picked the stalemate, but a long way to go. We've only played 10 minutes in the second half. Negredo rolls the ball back into midfield. Forshaw onto Fisher, lays it off to Fabio. Back into Forshaw once again. Good defending by Henriksen just to force him a little bit further away from the penalty area. Clayton for Middlesbrough to Fabio on the left-hand side. He's about 10 yards outside the penalty area. That was a good ball in towards the edge of the box. Gaston Ramirez turns, tries to cross low. Good interception by El Mohammadi. And then Gaston Ramirez, refusing to give up, slides in. Last touch off El Mohammadi. And from nothing, Ramirez has won a corner. He's been my man of the match so far.
Yeah, El Mohammadi's gone mad at the ref, but he was in a fantastic position to see it, Mike Dean. He reckons the last touch was off El Mohammadi. It wasn't. It was off Ramirez's knee, I think. It did touch El Mohammadi back onto Ramirez.
So corner to Middlesbrough on the left-hand side, played in by Fisher and too close to the goalkeeper, and David Marshall makes the save.
Good catch, actually.
Victor Fisher, he is, you mentioned out of position, Mark, he's naturally a right winger, and he's operating on the left wing tonight.
No. Is that why he's all right foot, do you think?
I'm just informing the listeners who aren't here to see how all right.
The listeners who switched off in their droves. Null?
It's you never know what's going to happen in these games. It could be a 3-3 draw between here and the end, says he extremely optimistically.
It was a clever lead by Negredo. No one was on the same wavelength.
Here come Middlesbrough. Clayton to the right hand side. Barragan infield to Gaston Ramirez, back to Adam Clayton once again. Slow and laboured build up through midfield from Middlesbrough. Gibson onto Fisher, back to the halfway line again to Callum Chambers. Barragan flicks it on towards Daroon, crossing position on the right hand side. He's got Curtis Davis in close attendance, so the pass throws backwards to Gaston Ramirez, who's normally had a bit of forward thrust about him in the match. Lays it off to Gibson, forward to Fisher. Long arc of a turn and hooks it out to the right wing, controlled by Barragan. It's been a long build up this, and there's nothing at the end of it. Well, they will get a corner for Middlesbrough on the right hand side.
The delivery's not been particularly great, has it, from set pieces, Middlesbrough? The due one.
So Ramirez places the ball. They've tried a few fancy things with corners in this game, short ones. Playing it in low. Let's see what happens here. Ramirez, more orthodox delivery. Good header at the front post by Michael Dawson. And that goes out for a throw.
I thought it was a better delivery that time, Connor. There's a bit of whip on it.
Agree. 5 inches higher, and that was causing all sorts of problems. Here is Forshaw on the left from Middlesbrough. Back into a more central location to Clayton. You can see the frustration of Middlesbrough fans. They're screaming at him to shoot Adam Clayton, who's not scored this season. He was about 40 yards out. Here he is even deeper, near the centre circle.
He's just played 3 balls backwards.
Only 2 wins this season for Middlesbrough on their return to the Premier League. This is a big opportunity given the amount of possession they've had, but can they make it count? Fabio looks across, comes off El Mohammadi. It's another corner to Middlesbrough, this time on the left-hand side.
Yeah. I'll just sling this middle of the 6-yard box.
So Fisher, the right winger, to place the ball for this corner on the left-hand side. Here it comes, right-footed, that's good, that's headed down and that's it! Gaston Ramirez opens the scoring for Middlesbrough, and finally they produce some decent service into the box. Ramirez, who's been the best player on the pitch, celebrates in his birthday week because he has put Middlesbrough in front for what they hope will be their second home win of the season.
Must have heard us, Connor. Sling it into the 6-yard box, which is exactly what they did. It was just a complete free header for Ramirez. Complete free.
Gaston Ramirez scores against his old club. It's an excellent header down into the ground and up into the roof of the net.
Diamande was supposed to mark him. Look at just ball watching. Absolute normal striker back in his own box, ball watching.
It's poor from Diamande. Ball is coming in.
He's deserved it, Ramirez.
He's not interested in attacking it at all. He makes a gesture to somebody he knows in the crowd. No issue with celebrating against a team he was briefly on loan with in Hull City. Gaston Ramirez has put Middlesbrough in front here, and let's see if this injects a bit of life into a game. We've got half an hour to go. Middlesbrough, who if they can win this game would move up several places in the table. They would go above the champions Leicester, they'd go above Burnley, they'd go above Crystal Palace. They'll be 13th tonight, Middlesbrough, if it stays like this. So there's quite a lot at stake here, and Mike Phelan is preparing to make not 1 but 2 changes in response, with Hull now chasing the game.
Yeah, I think Huddleston is coming on, isn't he? I can see.
And Bowen, I think, Jared Bowen.
Okay.
We'll wait to see that in just a moment. Ryan Mason's going off. He's not had an impact at all.
I think he's been poorly. I think he missed the last game through illness, so whether he still feels under the weather, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, he missed the game against Newcastle with illness. Jake Livermore is the other player who goes off. So Huddleston will take the position that Livermore was in, anchor role in midfield. And Jared Bowen, who's come on for Mason, he is a striker, so it's now 2 up front. 2 up front for Hull, with Bowen joining Diamande. We mentioned how short on strikers they are at the moment. Hull with Abel Hernandez and Greg Lower, and who else is there? There's Will Keane missing, and Mbakani suspended. So they're very, very low. So this 20-year-old Jared Bowen has come on. He has been involved as a sub a couple of times recently, and he's come on as a sub again here. And Mike Phelan gambling, as he must do, with his team 1-0 down.
It's positive, isn't it? Straight away, well, that's not working. Come on, 1-0 down, let's try and pinch a goal back.
Ben Gibson's come to the touchline just to get a word of advice from Aitor Karanka. Good mentor for Gibson to have. A former Real Madrid player, won La Liga and Champions League. And his win ratio so far at Middlesbrough, Aitor Karanka, has been 50%, which is the best of any manager in the club's history. Here comes Snodgrass, down the right-hand side, crosses in low, interception by Clayton, and that goes out for a corner.
It is funny though sometimes, Connor, you make a couple of substitutions which seem to be positive. It changes the whole mood of the team. It's suddenly, come on then, we're going for this a little bit, which is maybe, hopefully, what's going to happen to Hull.
So, a corner for Hull, which Robert Snodgrass will take. Here it comes, left-footed, good delivery. Valdez decided early he was coming, and he wins a punch and gets it out of the penalty area. And Fabio will come away with possession on the right-hand side. Fabio clears straight to Tom Huddleston, who won't hold on to it. This is Forshaw, on to Fisher. Middlesbrough up to the halfway line. Fisher always seems to go the long way around everything, whenever he turns. Fabio near the centre circle now. Barragan, who is on the left-hand side. The two fullbacks swapping position there, the way they came out from the corner.
Yeah, Barragan now has played that ball sideways so he can get back into position on the right.
I mentioned there that Karanka has got the best win ratio of any manager in Middlesbrough's history. By the way, Lincoln 3, Oldham 1 now. That's a goal back for Oldham in the FA Cup against Lincoln. Winner will play Ipswich.
Better than Jack Charlton's record.
I was just going to say, Jack Charlton, I was going to set that up as a question for you, Laro. I was going to say, of all the illustrious managers that Middlesbrough have had, Messrs McLaren and Southgate amongst them, it's Jack Charlton who had a 45% win ratio. He's got the next best record in charge of this.
I was going to say, because he was a manager at Ayresome Park, the old second division, and they walked out of the league. I remember being at a game at Deepdale, and do you know who the Preston manager was against Jack Charlton? There's a clue in there.
Bobby Charlton.
Correct. What took you so long?
1-0 to Middlesbrough here. The goal, a header from Gaston Ramirez from a corner. Middlesbrough could be moving up to 13th in the Premier League table tonight. Hull could be remaining rooted inside the relegation zone in a week in which they have reached the semi-final of the League Cup. First time in the club's history they've got to the semi-final of the League Cup. Of course, got to the FA Cup final just a couple of years ago. But so far for Mike Phelan, that quarter-final, by the way, the win against Newcastle, went to penalties, so there was extra time. And obviously he's made changes tonight, but some of those players have played a lot of football. Oh, 2 goals in quick succession. I told you there was a comeback in the offing.
Well,
Lincoln 3, Oldham 2 in the FA Cup.
Curzon, Ashton and Wimbledon.
Yep. Commentary on 5 Live Sports Extra if you are more into that. Here we are almost midway through the second half at the Riverside Stadium on a cold night on Teesside. Clearance from Valdez. Daroon jumps for it, doesn't win the header, and it will be played back via El Mohammadi and all the way back to the goal.
We've not seen a lot of El Mohammadi, have we, going forward? Very, very little.
No. It's like he's been pinned in, isn't he? Here is Snodgrass. Back to Dawson. Hull being smoked out somewhat now, and they must try to move forward more often. Free kick given on the far side for the visitors. Taken quickly. Jared Bowen, the striker who's come on, he's playing on the left-hand side of the attack. Diamandi in the middle. Snodgrass trying to get forward on the right. Long ball out towards Snodgrass here is too high and goes out for a throw into Middlesbrough. I think it's fair to say are pretty much in control here at the moment.
Yeah, I think Huddleston's on. He's on for his range of passing, isn't it? All right, he's given the ball away a couple of times, but he does see things. So one thing about him, he might just get Hull going. Did Karanka play many games for Madrid?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I don't know the exact number, but he was, I would say at least 2 La Liga titles. He definitely played in a Champions League final, and I think he was a sub in another Champions League final.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll look up the exact stats, but no, he definitely did. And he was one of those he was sort of like Steve Bruce in his day, that he was winning all these leagues. He was the central defender, but I think he only made 1 senior appearance for Spain. He wasn't a regular international. Here is Negredo for Middlesbrough. To the right-hand side is Adam Forshaw. Scoops it forward. Negredo's backpedaling. He's done well here actually to hold it up. Forshaw's come in support. Fisher's up there as well. Dawson though reacts quickly inside the penalty area and he clears it away.
He's done well, Negredo.
Yeah, just going to say
he's done really well. He's held the ball up. You know, if it just needed 1 touch, it's been 1 touch. He's brought lots of people into the game.
It's not easy, is it? I mean, it's
difficult, but you do feel if they had some kind of midfield runner, you know, every time it comes into Negredo in that position, he just drops off and you can play in a bit sort of Dele Alli-ish.
Yeah.
That kind of player, and I think they'd be more of a force.
Hull City 1-0 down here at the Riverside. Klukas tries to stab one over the top. The quality hasn't been there tonight for the visitors. I mean, it was a good idea there from Klukas, but he didn't hit it high enough. Gibson was able to intercept. Ball goes out of play. It will be a throw-in to Middlesbrough. So games coming up. Middlesbrough play Southampton away next. Then it's back-to-back home games against Liverpool and Swansea to bring them through to Christmas. Aitor Karanka played 93 league games for Madrid. So that's
you thought he played more than that, didn't you? If you're honest.
If I'm honest, I thought he played a little bit more than that. Yeah. Well, that's not bad. 93 isn't bad.
No, I'm not saying it isn't. Just.
But no, I will admit that. I would have thought it was sort of 200-300. Yeah. That was more your era, Lara. Carranco, who was assistant manager at Madrid with Jose Mourinho.
What happened here last year? Because he looked like he'd lost his job at one stage. Didn't he go to Charlton?
Yeah,
and he wasn't in charge of the team.
He was pretty much on strike. He left for 3 days, and then they coached him to come back. And well, they patched it up. They got their promotion, and here they are in the Premier League. This is Negredo inside his own half, hungry to get on the ball tonight on an evening when he's not had much service. I'd say 2 decent deliveries into the box for Negredo. One of them he booted over the top, the other hit the back of his head. Gibson to the near side to Barragan. Back in. There's Negredo actually. Looks similar from behind. This is Fisher. And a challenge by Snodgrass, and the ball goes out of play for a throw-in.
Just a spell here of Middlesbrough keeping the ball. It's got to be a little bit cute though. Only needs one slip up.
This is Callum Chambers. Clayton. Forshaw. Back into their own half again. Middlesbrough, you feel, would take this. There are 20 minutes to go, and I'd say Middlesbrough fans keep looking towards the clock, so many of them holding up their smartphones here and dotting some extra light onto the pitch here with 20 minutes to play in the game. This is Robertson, the left back, coming over the halfway line for Hull. You think you've got to gamble a little bit more now. It's a strong thrusting run from Robertson, but then a touch that was just a little bit too heavy, and it's taken off his toe. Here comes Gaston Ramirez. Middlesbrough being urged by the fans to move forward on the counter-attack. Taken up by Victor Fisher here. Out to the right-hand side to Barragan. Middlesbrough being slow and laboured through midfield. They've allowed Hull get their full complement of defenders back.
I feel like I'm at a Barry Manilow concert here.
Middlesbrough fans turning on their smartphones and what I presume is a pre-arranged idea. Get the details on that. Here is Fisher into the penalty area, tried to weave in front of Dawson. Dawson kept his eye on the ball, ignored the swivel of the hips, and he puts it out for a corner.
Yeah, and El Mohammadi was chasing the Middlesbrough player as well. I think he thought for a moment he was going to try and nick the ball off him.
Yeah, we've just been told, I believe this is to do with a show of support for Chapecoense, the Brazilian club, who were involved in that air crash, because in an obviously coordinated move here, Middlesbrough fans on a dark evening here in Teesside are illuminating with 70 minutes on the clock. All their smartphones are out, they've got the torches on, and they're shining it towards the pitch, and it's creating a nice atmosphere, and what we believe is a tribute for that Brazilian team who've had such tragedy.
Fabio has been booked, throwing the ball away. Actually threw it to the referee, which was tantamount to throwing it away. Oh, well done for Middlesbrough, well done to the supporters.
Really shocking story, that. Really, really shocking.
Frightening.
So 1-0 to Middlesbrough tonight here at the Riverside on their return to the top flight. Middlesbrough had spent 7 seasons in the Championship before getting back up here. They don't want to go back down again anytime soon. This is young Jared Bowen, the Hull City substitute.
We've got to the bottom of it. The lights off the phones came on 71 minutes.
Right.
Was there 71 people died in the crash?
Right,
I think?
Okay. Yeah, that would explain it. So well done to Middlesbrough, that's a very nice touch.
Yeah, well done to Alistair. He's had a 9 out of 10.
He always does. 9, it's a bit harsh.
For once.
I'm going to say 9 is a bit harsh for Alistair. Here is Henriksen, Marcus Henriksen for Hull. Wouldn't quite say they've run out of ideas, Hull, but they're not implementing too many fresh ones. Henriksen again, midway inside the Middlesbrough half. Challenged by Fisher. He lunges in and gives away a free kick. Free kick to Middlesbrough, who will take their time over this. Still good. Fans are enjoying it, this, actually. They're full of voice.
Yeah, well, they're thinking of the points, aren't they? Still got a change, haven't they, as well? To make Hull. They've only made 2 of them so far.
They've brought on Huddleston and Bowen. So David Myler could come on. Scored against Liverpool in September. James Weir, who I saw play briefly for Manchester United last season. He played in the 3-2 win against Arsenal. That was his top flight debut. He was captain of Manchester United on the 21 side last season. He's on the bench. And then it's defender Josh Tymon as well, and defender Harry Maguire.
Right, so not a lot really in terms of attacking options.
No, that would be the difficulty. for Mike Phelan. But as we mentioned, they've got a long list of attacking players who...
Sorry, Connor, this tells you everything. You've got a free kick, Middlesbrough, some 45 yards from Hull's goal. Both centre-backs are stood 30 yards back.
Yeah. Middlesbrough have got their noses in front, and they are happy that 1-0 will be enough to do it. Defending their lead is more important than adding to it. Let's see what Darun does here, though. Good ball. Fabio in on the left-hand side. Has a chance to look up. Sends in across. Negredo got a header on target, but saved. Saved by David Marshall. No real power on the header, but a good build-up actually for Middlesbrough.
Yeah, I think Davis was sort of a bit of a barrier for him, and when it hit the back of Davis's head, actually, or came off them both together.
Last season when these teams played each other in the Championship, they each beat each other at home. But this will be an important victory for Middlesbrough if they can hold on, having lost 4 of their last 5 home games here. A stadium that turns 21 this year, the Riverside. I said to you earlier, I always think of this as being one of the newer stadiums. It's 21 years old. Here comes Dawson up to the halfway line, sprays it out towards Jared Bowen on the left-hand side, controls it, immediately closed down by Gaston Ramirez. Support arrives from behind by Robertson. Robertson was careless, nearly lost it. Then he's done well to rectify. This is Henriksen in the penalty area. Turns, tries to cross, and he'll take that. It's a corner. Corner to Hull, who will be grateful of a chance to send the big men forward here.
Yeah, and they're coming. 2 more Brazilian players played for Middlesbrough. Juninho, Emerson.
Yeah. Emerson, of course, yeah, with the hair. There were great times.
Deno's just texted me that. That boy's got no life.
Well, that is definitely true. But what great days they were watching Middlesbrough, the days of Ravanelli and all those. Here comes the corner from the left-hand side. Lucas's header is too high and up and over the top.
It's a really good chance, Connor. There's nobody near him. He's probably only some 8 yards out, and he's just come up with a looping header, completely free. Was nowhere near the target at all. Lots of time and lots of space.
It's a real chance.
Real chance.
Sam Clucas, who's never scored in the Premier League, scored against Middlesbrough the season before last in the Championship, and that was a chance to equalise at 1-1, and I'm not sure you could make a great case to say Hull would deserve to be on level terms, but they would have been.
27,395.
Yep, so we've got around about 3,000-4,000 empty seats here tonight. Hull supporters haven't had to travel all that far, 67 miles separating the clubs. That's a good ball, inviting a counter-attack by Gaston Ramirez from Adam Forshaw, and Middlesbrough will get a corner at the end of it.
Why do the centre-backs come up for this, but not come up for the
free kick?
No.
Yeah. 14 minutes to go.
I can't get Deno off now. Can't get him off my phone.
He enjoys the text, does Ian Dennis, our esteemed commentator colleague. Corner comes in from Gaston Ramirez. Not sure if he meant it that way, but it was low and hard. It sort of ricocheted initially. Hull get it away. Now Clucas has done very well here. Slalomed his way through 2 tackles. Laid it up to Snodgrass on the right-hand side. Snodgrass is now bearing down on the penalty area on the right. And it's good defending by Clayton. Adam Clayton got back there, won the ball at the edge of the area. Snodgrass is furious as he gets back up. He feels he was fouled. I think Clayton was hard but fair there. That was a good challenge. This is Robertson for Hull. Still just the 1 goal in it here on 5 Live. Gaston Ramirez's header is Middlesbrough in front. Hull, who if they could turn this around with 2 late goals, would move out of the relegation zone this evening. Curtis Davis gets back comfortably ahead of Negredo and rolls it back to the goalkeeper David Marshall. So another reminder that we've got Manchester City against Celtic, Champions League commentary tomorrow night. And after the live football this evening, which is going to be in about 10-15 minutes time, it's 5 Live Football Social discussing the relegation battle, and your chance to get involved, 0500 909 693. Good interception by Barragan, just stepping into his own penalty area. Hull have improved the last couple of minutes.
They have improved, but you know what, Connor? Middlesbrough sat back. Very, very dangerous to do.
Well, Hull conceded a 94th minute equaliser against Leicester last week. That's the only goal they've conceded in the last 15 minutes of any Premier League game this season. Hull hoping that they can get back on level terms here. Free kick to Middlesbrough though, and they're just going to take their time as much as they can over all of these set pieces, as Aitor Karanka prepares to make another change, and he's going to bring on Christian Stuani, the Uruguayan, who is getting ready to come on. He has scored 3 times this season. I'm sure the instructions he's receiving at the moment will be of more of a defensive nature.
Yeah, don't cross the halfway line, I think you'll find. Stay in position.
Valdez comes well out of his penalty area to take the free kick. Pumps it into the whole half. Middlesbrough on the ball. Clayton, low to the feet of Forshaw. Laid off to Alvaro Negredo, who's got 4 teammates in front of him. Ramirez lays it off to Adam Clayton. This is midway inside the whole half. Good work from Ramirez. Gets it back from Forshaw. Then a little disguised pass to Negredo. This is very fancy for Middlesbrough. Cross comes in too high for Daroon. Picked up by Fisher. Good first touch. Terrible shot at the end of it. Oh, what a goal that would have been. Excellent build-up from Middlesbrough. Some of the best football we've seen in the game. Gaston Ramirez inevitably at the heart of it, but Fisher's shot at the end of disappointment.
Yeah, very, very central to it, Ramirez. He sees things on this pitch that other people tonight just haven't spotted, and it's just a poor attempt, not a finish, is it?
So here comes the change. Christian Stuani will come on in place of Victor Fisher. So the Dane will leave the field. It was his corner that set up the goal, of course.
I think, would Ramirez not come and play on the left? Stuani go and play on the right, I would have thought.
Yeah, that would make sense. Keep an eye on that in the next few minutes. Mind you, after our discussion of Fisher being a right winger, kind of surprised they didn't give him a little bit of time on the right hand side before taking him off. 10 minutes to go here on the Riverside, and there is an injury to
Gibson,
one of the Borough players. No, it's Chambers. Callum
Good
Chambers.
header as well. It was a great header from Chambers, and they got caught a little bit.
Hull are going to make a change during this break in play. They're not interested in wasting time. David Myler is going to come on. And who's he replaced? Who's gone off? It is Henriksen. Henriksen really wasn't involved in the game, was he? We hardly mentioned his name.
No, hardly mentioned him at all.
So just a delay in play here while Callum Chambers is still receiving some treatment. David Myler, from a Sunderland player, of course. I mentioned that Hull and Middlesbrough aren't that far apart really by Premier League distances. Sunderland are the only Premier League club who are closer to Middlesbrough than Hull.
You sure about that?
Yeah, because Newcastle aren't in the Premier League, so yeah, I'm pretty sure about that. And you can always tell it's one of those really exciting games when you're down to the how many miles away clubs are from each other sort of statistics. Laura's got another club, and I can tell it's on the tip of your tongue. You think someone's closer?
No. I was looking at Alistair's face because he's a bit more local than certainly we are.
True.
You would have to think about that for a minute.
Yeah. No, it is 67 miles to Hull, and of course usually the northeast trio of Sunderland, Middlesbrough and Newcastle, but of course it's only Sunderland and Middlesbrough in the top flight this season, and Hull who beat Newcastle in the League Cup on penalties last Tuesday. Here is David Myler, who's come on as a substitute for Hull. We've got 7.5 minutes to go here. It's been a game short on entertainment tonight, but the 3 points would be extremely valuable to Aitor Karanka and to Middlesbrough. It'll be only their 3rd win in the Premier League this season, but it would move them a long way away from trouble, and it would put quite a lot of clubs in behind them. A good buffer zone between Middlesbrough and the relegation zone if they could win tonight. Here is Diamande. Hull still just 1 goal behind though. They might just have an equaliser in them. Here is Robertson. Goes on the overlap on the left hand side. Tries to cross. He'll win another corner. Now they've had a few of these. Let's see if Hull can make this one count.
I wonder as well, they might be getting to the position, Connor, where they might just leave Dawson up. Go a little bit route one if you can pinch a point and a goal.
Well, you might as well lose this 2-0, right? Yeah. 7 minutes to play. Davis is up there. Dawson's up there. Klukas, who's tall, is up there. Diamande's in there. Here's the cross. Klukas at the front post. Tried to flick it on. It was more of a defender's header, really, up in the air and out of the penalty area. Huddleston would gather. 20,000 Middlesbrough fans screaming at their players to get out. It's lumped back in. Davis wins a header, but it's almost a back pass and easily picked up by Victor Valdez. Hull really haven't threatened tonight. Valdez has not had a moment's panic. Here is Gaston Ramirez. He's very graceful on the ball, the Uruguayan. Eludes Snodgrass. gives it on to Fabio. In fact, Fabio just runs the ball out of play.
Fabio had the ball some 20 seconds earlier, and he turned all the way back, just got into Hull's half and passed the ball back. And in the end, they've lost the ball, Middlesbrough. They've just gone very, very negative.
Hull's next game is against Crystal Palace. That's at home. Then they travel to Tottenham and West Ham, and then they play Manchester City on Boxing Day. And is this to be another defeat for Hull tonight? It would leave only Swansea below them in the table. And we all know how bad a season Swansea have had. Hull have only got 2 points more. And you consider the good start that Hull had with Mike Phelan being named manager of the month in August. It's been terrible since then. If you took the first 2 weekends of the league out of the equation, Hull would be bottom. Here's a chance though. Klukas gets to the edge of the area, should have passed it to Robertson. He went for goal himself from miles out, and he's put it wide. Robertson had made a brilliant overlapping run.
Why did he just not play him in? Why, oh why?
Good touch from Diamande in the build-up there. That was not the right option from Sam Klukas. He's started every league game so far this season. Still looking for his first Premier League goal. So 5 minutes of normal time to go. Another delay for injuries. And a reminder that we've got Champions League commentary tomorrow night, Manchester City against Celtic. A special game on Wednesday night, looking at the tragic airplane crash in Brazil, and just looking from a historical slant about how teams in the past have recovered or attempted to recover from that sort of situation. They'll be referencing the Munich crash, of course, and Manchester United. But plenty coming up with Mark Chapman, 9 o'clock on 5 Live. I'm sure they'll podcast that as well worth listening out for. Who's it? Ramirez, isn't it, who's down receiving treatment? So Gaston Ramirez, the man who scored the goal tonight, he's second of the season. The man who played briefly on loan at Hull in the past, scoring the goal against his old team. And he's done well tonight. I'm probably doing him a disservice here, but you get the feeling, such has been the nature of the game, and 4 minutes to go now, that he's maybe milking this injury a little bit to kill a bit of time. I hope it's not anything more serious than that. They are going to make a change. Stuart Downing is going to come on, but Ramirez has taken a long time to make his way and eventually walk off the pitch. But he's done well tonight.
Done very, very well. He's been the class act in a very dull game, in all honesty.
So on comes Stuart Downing, who also scored in that Bournemouth game along with Ramirez in October. Downing, who made more appearances than any other Middlesbrough player last season, but he's just fallen out of favour in recent weeks. He's just coming on for the closing stages here now, as Middlesbrough hope to see out the win. They would be extremely gutted if they were to concede in a late equaliser here.
They would.
And Hull's record of never winning on a Monday night in the Premier League at the moment looks set to continue. Fabio sends it down the channel. Dawson allows it to bounce, knowing it's going out of play. Takes the throw in back to the goalkeeper. Middlesbrough fans felt he wasn't on the field to play there. Gets away with it, however. Hull just can't hold on to the ball. They have a throw in, he gives it back to the keeper, and the keeper gives it straight to a Middlesbrough player. 2.5 minutes to go here. Downing, first touch for him on the attack down the left hand side. Good defending by Dawson. Hull clear it away. Fabio keeps it in play. Is he fouled though?
Yeah, it was fouled. He didn't need the forward roll as well with the foul though. It was fouled. Referee's given it.
Only once this season have Middlesbrough lost in the league, having scored the first goal of a game. That was against Everton in September. Tonight they've scored first, and it looks like that could well be enough. We've got 2 minutes exactly of normal time remaining. There'll be a little bit added on for stoppages because we have had the physios on it at various stages. But Hull have lacked ideas tonight, and they've
just lacked really quality, Connor, haven't they? Lacked real quality.
So at the moment, Swansea, Hull and Sunderland are the bottom three. West Ham 1 point above the cut-off line. Leicester just 2 points above the relegation zone. We want you to get involved in the chat about how that relegation battle is building up. 5 Live Football Social coming up with Kelly Cates in just a few minutes now, through to 10:30. 0500 909 693 is the number if you want to get involved tonight. We are at 5 Live Sport. You can get us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Chance of a counter-attack here for Middlesbrough. Daroon waits for the arrival outside him of Christian Stuani. Stuani wriggles and jiggles and tries to deliver a cross. It comes off Myler and it goes out for a corner, which is probably as valuable as anything else though, because it'll lead into the clock again.
That's the best way to defend, some 80 metres further forward up the pitch.
Into the final minute. It has not been an entertaining game to watch this, but Middlesbrough could be on the verge of an extremely important 3 points. Forshaw is standing over this corner as if he has no intention of hitting it into the penalty area. There is one Middlesbrough player in the box. One. It's Stuani, and even he's walking towards the edge.
And they've left 5 at the back against 2.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, with 30 seconds to go, it's completely understandable. Here is Negredo, edge of the penalty area. Heavy touch gives it to Huddleston. All over in the FA Cup. Lincoln go through. They've won 3-2, was it, against Oldham? 3-2. So they will go to play Ipswich. Here comes Daroon again for Middlesbrough. More thrusting run this time. He's got Downing available on the left-hand side. 2 in the box. Downing will deliver in towards Negredo. Headed away by Curtis Davis. Karanka's not happy with that. He wanted him to go to the corner flag. There are 4 minutes being added on, and this game isn't over yet, and this will give Hull a little extra pep in their step now. They realise they've got time to nick an equaliser, and it would be nicking it. Here is the cross from Diamanda. Whoa! I said cross, it became a shot, and Valdez had to backpedal and fingertip it out for a corner. What a goal that would have been from Diamanda.
He moves his feet extremely well, Valdez, to get himself in a position just to deflect it for the corner.
He meant it too. It was meant as a shot. I saw Divock Origi score a goal for Liverpool against Sunderland from a similar sort of position to that about 10 days ago. Here comes the corner. Played in by Songas, back down to the front post. A fraction away from the equaliser. Diamanda slid in. He was like Gaza at Euro 96. He was a whisker away. He slid in. There was no touch.
No.
Diamanda, who's done nothing all game, he's had 2 big chances in stoppage time.
Flick came from El Mohammadi as well. Just nobody picked him up. Somebody at the far stick there. Striker gets a goal for nothing.
I tell you what, you can see why Middlesbrough have been so cautious, because they look vulnerable to conceding a late equaliser here. And Hull, who've offered so little in attack, as soon as they offer anything of substance, they come so close. Valdez had to save from Diamanda, and then Diamanda from the resultant corner was a whisker away from getting on the end of that flick on from El Mohammadi. So we've played 90 seconds of the 4 minutes of stoppage time. Marshall's come sprinting out of his goal to take this free kick. Hull are pushing players forward. Rolled by Marshall to Robertson into the Middlesbrough half. There's lots of players on the edge of the Borough penalty area. Strong header to get it away though by Gibson. It'll come back to Huddleston on the right hand side. He's tackled by Forshaw. Middlesbrough have only got 2 defenders against them now as Forshaw breaks into the Hull half. Huddleston, knowing that his team are outnumbered, commits a foul on Forshaw. That's a free kick to Middlesbrough, who've now played 2 of the 4.
Well, just blown the chance, haven't they?
Middlesbrough take the free kick down towards the corner flag on the left hand side. Stuart Downing will gather. Just cuts back a little bit. And then you would say Sunderland have rediscovered a bit of form in recent weeks. Middlesbrough showing here that they don't want to get sucked into the relegation zone. How fearful would you be for Hull, Mark Lawrenson?
Very. Just looking at them and what they've got, Connor, I think they'll go down.
A very difficult start to the season when your manager leaves just weeks before the start of the campaign, as Steve Bruce did.
Not being funny, he read the script, Steve Bruce, didn't he? The club was in such a mess.
Mind you, there is, I'm pretty sure it's not confirmed yet. I've not heard a recent update on it, but I'm pretty sure there's a deal agreed in principle for a Far East consortium to buy the club in January.
That's been happening for months and months and months, has it not?
Yeah, they need to get on with it, don't they? But theoretically, an injection of cash in January, and they spend a few King's ransom on players, then maybe, but it depends, because we've seen a few different sort of business consortiums take over football clubs. For every free spending one, there's a sort of Vinkies takeover as well, so you never quite know what you're getting. Oh, Valdez with a mistake. His clearance has gone straight to Snodgrass. Might have hit Snodgrass on the arm. Late drama here. Oh, Huddleston gave a good pass, I thought, to Bowen. Bowen wasn't expecting it. Middlesbrough, who are just walking on eggshells here. They've only got about 20 seconds to hang on here, but they're not coasting over the line. Suddenly they've got all nervy.
No, Bowen, you're absolutely right. Wasn't expecting. It wasn't the greatest of passes, but kind of had a little look round as though, was that meant for me? Yes.
Full time whistle is blown by Mike Dean, and Middlesbrough have won in the Premier League for just the third time this season. It's a really important 3 points for Aitor Karanka. It moves his team up above Leicester and Burnley and Crystal Palace. They go to 13th. They'd have taken that at the start of the season if you offered it to them 13th in early December. But for Hull, troubling times. They may be into the semi-final of the League Cup, but they are rooted in the relegation zone. They are just 2 points above above Swansea at the bottom, and they've been beaten tonight by Gaston Ramirez's goal.
Well, quite simply, the best team won and the best player on the pitch scored, and really that is the end of the matter.
Not much worth writing home about in terms of detail, Kelly, but the win is a win is a win, and Middlesbrough have got it. 3 points for them. They've beaten Hull by a goal to 0.